everybody, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are having a great day today. So today I wanted to talk about the topic of frugality and abundance. So I've talked about abundance in previous videos, and so abundance is something that is just inherent to our universe. Everything has abundance already built into it. So everything is infinite and it has the ability to be abundant. Our reality is actually an illusion. So with it being an illusion and coming straight from within you, anything and everything can be created and in any quantity, okay? Because there is actually no resources that it's coming from other than from you. So that's where the abundance is. It's literally everywhere because this is abundant. You can create and it's not that you create these things. These things are already here and now in existence, but to the person, to us, it feels that we're creating things. It feels that we're getting things. It feels that we're moving through things. It feels like all of these things. But in reality, it's already here and now. It's already here, and it's endless amounts of possibilities that you could go through. So in this lifetime that I'm living here as this person that you're seeing, there's only so many things that I'm going to be able to experience, but it's all there and all the possibilities are open to me. So there is infinite amount of possibilities here and now, okay? And the same thing comes to when we think of abundance, we really think about money, right? So money is the same way. It's abundant. It's endless. There isn't like a number or it has to stop at this amount. It's infinite, okay? There can always be more and more money. And that is why there is so many people that have money right now. And money can be continuously printed. There is no end to it, okay? And so it's whatever. This is something that we're placing value and importance on. It's not something that is just because there's only so much of it. We could literally print as much as we wanted to, okay? So it is in abundance. But money is a tool. Money is something that we use to purchase things, to live our lives. So it is something that is useful and necessary in our society. So the way that we get money is from working and from using our gifts and creating things and doing things in this world that are worth paying for. So it's definitely something that is valued, right? But money really isn't everything. And so stay till the end of the video and I will share with you my experience of abundance as opposed to frugality and my thoughts on that. So I have been very frugal in my past. I've just been naturally frugal because, I don't know, I think in my family in the past, like I've heard that my grandparents were frugal. I know that my parents were mostly frugal. My father more so than my mom, but same sort of thing with me. So I feel like I am frugal, but I'm not to the extent of, being cheap. So there's a difference between frugality and being cheap. So being frugal is, being careful with your money, being a good steward of your money. In my background, I grew up a Christian, and we are usually, pretty good stewards of our money. That is a virtue that we try to develop. And so I've always been, cautious with my money, saved money, and, when I was going to church, and I still go to church, I tithe, and I still tithe. So tithing is giving 10% of your income to the church, and so that will be used in the kingdom of God, okay? And then that 10% you give to God will be multiplied, okay? And usually like tenfold, or, there's different prayers and things that people say, but usually it'll be multiplied. And in my experience, it definitely is. So whether you are a Christian believing that you are tithing to God because you're expanding the kingdom of God, or you're tithing because you're releasing money, because you know that the law of abundance works. So the law of assumption and the law of attraction are very similar, okay? And so in those laws, when you have money going out, you're giving money freely, you're not holding tightly to it. You're in the state of giving and receiving. You give your 10% and it comes back to you. So it comes back to you tenfold or more. So that is how that works. And it works, for Christians, they do their tithing, and it really does come back to you. And so there is lots of evidence of that. Many people have their own, testimonies about that. That has happened to me, in my past, where we've tithed or even given above our tithe and been blessed, way more than we've given. And my husband continuously does this, and this is part of his success. My husband has not had a non-dual realization. He doesn't really isn't really seeking that. He is very happy and content being a Christian, and he tithes, and he believes the Bible and does those sorts of things, and that is his belief. And this is what I'm saying, whatever it is that you believe, that is your reality. So he believes that, and it works for him, and that is what is his reality. Okay, so he has that relationship with Christ as he believes, and so it works for him, and he tithes and he gets money back, and he has manifested a lot through just the same principles that I'm teaching, just only that he attributes it to Christ. Okay, and so he also uses like affirmations and things. He puts Bible verses and things on his cars, on his vehicles, and he manifests more and more of what he loves. So all of this works regardless of your background, regardless of your religion or any of these things. But anyhow, so I was pretty frugal just my whole life growing up, and then as an adult, after I had my daughter, I was very frugal with money when I was married, and taking care of my daughter and all of that. I was someone that we made pretty good money between my husband and I, good money to pay for a house, cars, all that stuff. And so we were doing well, but we were living always with less than what we could afford. So we saved a lot more, or we just didn't use it, or we used it towards trips or other things. But like we always, bought the off brands when we went grocery shopping. And we still do for a lot of things, but not everything. We a lot of times would buy things used. When Craigslist was around, we would buy a lot of things off Craigslist. We would fix things before buying anything, or even buy things used that were broken and fix those. We would do yard sales, thrift stores, eBay, all of these things, in order to save money. And later on, I became aware of like extreme couponing. I don't know if y'all remember on TLC, there used to be a TV show called Extreme Couponing. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I saw that episode, and I'm usually the kind of person that sees something and thinks, if they can do it, I can do it. So I saw that, and I saw how, they were getting their groceries for nothing, if sometimes being paid for them. So I started couponing, and I was able to do it. I was able to get all of those items free. I had like 2 rooms in my house completely full of free items. That is how much abundance there is, guys. Like, just think about it. Literally right now, you could learn to coupon, and you would have all of these items for free. Now, of course, they're all usually name brand items or junk food items, more of the mainstream stuff that they're trying to push on you, and not so much of the healthy type stuff. But you could literally have all of those items if you just watch some YouTube videos and tried these things, okay? So there was that time that I was couponing, and then from couponing, I started doing rebates. And then from there, I started doing sweepstakes and things like that. And I don't know, have y'all ever seen or watched this movie about this woman that won a ton of sweepstakes? So I had watched that movie, and I got motivated by that and started doing that. And I think I won like a trip to the Bahamas, but she had to pay the taxes and all these things. But anyhow, I didn't go very far with that. But I had watched that movie, and I was kind of inspired by that. But just recently, I had watched her actually speaking on YouTube, like some old videos of her. And so this woman, she had won like pretty much every contest she had ever won. So I think the movie's called like The Contest Lady, and I believe it's on Netflix if I'm not mistaken. But anyhow, she had won all of these things: trips, cars, houses, clothes, experiences, all of these things. So after I watched the YouTube video, I realized I was doing it wrong when I was trying to, win those trips. So basically, she revealed her secret on these videos, and it is literally what I'm teaching in the identity shifting and reality shifting, okay? It's literally you become it and you experience it within, in your inner world. So what she would do is if she was applying for a trip or she was going to fill out, she would do essays. That was her trick. If she was going to apply to a contest, it had to be an essay contest. So all her contests were essays. And with those essays, she would see what she was going to apply for. So let's say it was a vacation to Hawaii, and she would literally visualize herself in Hawaii and everything she would do and her family coming along with her and what she would wear and how it would feel and, all of these things, what she would eat. And so she would visualize all of this. And after she did that, in her essay, she would literally write down, when I go, I want to win this trip, and I'm going to win this trip. And when I win this trip, I will be on the beach in Hawaii doing such and such, wearing such and such, with such and such. So she had it all planned out, and she had already had that trip in her inner world, in her mind. And so she won these trips. She attracted them to her. The trips themselves were just so mesmerized by this essay and, how much love and desire she had for these things that they chased her. So those are just some examples, of things that can happen from manifesting and not even really hardly knowing that you're doing that. So I don't know if she knew she was manifesting. I think eventually she realized what it was, what the secret was. And so that's what she spoke about in that video. But anyhow, so I went on to do, contests and things like that, and was sort of successful, but not really. I didn't put a whole lot of energy into that one. And so, I just kept doing that. And my husband was frugal, and that's just how we lived. We tried to keep our debt down and, only buy what we needed to, and kind of keeping that mentality that we're not keeping up with the Joneses. We're just kind of worried about ourselves, and we will buy and wear clothes and things that we think is special to us. And so that sort of thing. And so frugality, in a way, is very beautiful, and it can have its spiritual side to it. So it's not all bad to be frugal, as long as you know that you have abundance and you have access to that abundance at all times, which is something that I didn't know. So my frugality was more out of fear. Okay. So if something's coming out of fear, that's not the right energy to have. That's a very limiting energy that causes stress, causes anxiety, causes these discomforts. But if you're doing frugality and you're content in that, you're happy with that, and at the same time, you can have way more, but you prefer to have just what you need, then that is almost like a virtue. So that is why some people consider that a virtue, because if you can see that you can have everything, but at the same time you realize, hey, you know what, I actually am okay with just having what I need for myself, what I like for myself. So that's the difference. So I was very frugal with a more fear-based mindset of, saving for a rainy day. So that was a thing. It's always saving for a rainy day. We had all these stories in my family. They were farmers. And so back in those days, if it rained or if it flooded or some sort of disaster or bug or disease came about, you could lose everything for that year. So within my family, there was just always this thing about saving for a rainy day, having savings for emergencies. If the car breaks down, always thinking about emergencies was like kind of the mantra in my family, and even for myself. And even so now, there are times that I think to myself, oh, okay, I'm going to do this and that, but is that too risky? What if there's an emergency? So it's a very conditioned and ingrained belief. But anyway, that's the way that I grew up, and that's the way that I lived, and I really didn't feel anything wrong with it until I had my non-dual awakening. And when I had my non-dual awakening, all my beliefs fell away, and my sense of self and just everything fell away. But I still had memory of the way that I had lived my life, and just everything that had happened up until that moment. I still had memory of that. So, it was weird not having beliefs, but then seeing the way that I lived, it was almost comical and weird, because it was like, why was I living like that? I had no reason to. Because when you have this awakening, it makes you see yourself from almost outside yourself. Like you feel like, wow, like now I can see everything clearly, and you were doing it all crazy. That's not right. But anyhow, so when I saw it from that view, I saw, wow, like, you didn't have to be that frugal. You can spend a little bit more. You actually do make pretty good money, and you have enough saved up, and you can do this. And your desire has always been to stay home. And so these were all thoughts swirling in my head, and my desire to stay home, my desire to do this activity or try this hobby or that, and then just seeing that I had all the ability right here and now to do it. I had the finances, I had planned for it, I had saved for it, yet I was still fearful to take the steps to even do like hobbies or even do something special for myself. I would sometimes buy more special things as gifts for people, or as far as like clothing or shoes, if it was nicer or more expensive stuff, I'd buy it for my daughter, and not so much for myself. But then, so that's when I started noticing, what, you're not honoring yourself, you're not taking care of this. And there's no reason not to. You're completely worthy. This is, everything is like you, and it's abundant at all moments. So why not just have what you want? So when I saw that, the floodgates opened, I was like, wow, like I can have this. And this is where, this kind of abundance mindset comes from. And so my mind started opening, and I started like buying myself a few more things, buying more of the brand name things instead of the off-brand things. If I wanted to try an activity, I would go ahead and do it. If I needed help cleaning the house, I hire a housekeeper. If I needed, some help with such and such with this thing with work, I'd hire someone. So that's what I started doing, is like, using my money, hiring people, staying home. I took a whole year off of work. The way that things have worked out, I'll share some more on a later video, but I mean, the more that I would release the money, the more would come in, and tenfold and more. I mean, like literally anything I would release. And so I was just looking for ways to give. So there's people that are out there that have, realized this, and they're looking for ways to give. They want to tithe at church. Like I love to tithe. If I see a homeless person, I love to give. In the past, I used to make excuses. I used to say things when I would see a homeless person. I remember having an argument with my mother about it. I used to say things like, oh, they're just going to use it to drink alcohol, or they're just going to use it to buy drugs. And my mom was very upset with me one time and told me, you don't know their story or what's going on. But anyhow, now I see them, and I see them as myself, so I have love for them. So in one way, I want to give them money and things because I love them. But on a whole nother level, I also know that when I give them money, I'm going to get it back tenfold or more. So I absolutely love seeing anybody that I can help in any way. So there is people out there that are looking for ways to help. So one of the differences between frugality and abundance is to acquire wealth and keep it within abundance. You have to know why you want the money. So if you just want the money to buy a bunch of high-end clothes, or I don't know, if you're a guy, maybe vehicles. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. My husband loves high-end vehicles, but the thing is, it has to be your passion. For example, like my husband loves high-end vehicles, and so he does something great with them. He puts on car shows and tries to bring people to Christ. He does church car shows. So in that case, that's completely fine. But let's just say that you're wanting cars to attract women, you just want clothes so that more people would admire you. So you're doing it for people. You're doing it for the outside world. You're not doing it because you truly want it internally. Do you see the difference? And secondly, is that whatever your desire is for that money, is that really going to help anyone? Is there any purpose behind it? For example, one of the reasons that I wanted to be more abundant was to have more time and more energy and things to devote with the direction of my business. I do counseling, and I would like to expand it more into doing like maybe retreats or more healing type practices. So I need finances to do that. So I would like to expand that. And so all of these things, there's reasons that people want the abundance, and they feel it internally with passion and love, and it ignites it, so it manifests, because that's just the way that it works. But anyhow, that's that's the difference. To acquire wealth and keep it, you have to really have the love and passion behind it. If it's just for superficial reasons, to impress others or to people please, or because you don't feel worthy and you think that you need these items to attract, a partner, attract that girl or attract that man. Maybe you want plastic surgeries to change yourself because you're not happy with who you are. And so these sorts of things, they will not be lasting wealth. So lasting wealth is wealth with like a purpose behind it. Maybe you start a business and now you're hiring people. So now you're providing income for other people. So your wealth is growing, but also benefiting other people. So to have wealth and keep it, it has to continually like multiply and multiply, because abundance is always multiplying. Like it's literally always growing. So it's amazing, this whole thing with abundance. But abundance really wants to be where it grows. It does not want to be where it's kept hidden or choked or not let out. So if you're someone that's very cheap and you don't want to spend not even a penny on something that's worth it, or you don't want to let go of your purse strings, or you don't want to buy or donate or help anybody, you don't even ever do charity, you're holding on to that money too tight. That money is not going to survive. It just has no oxygen. You're only either going to keep that money there hostage forever and literally not do anything, or it's going to disappear, but it's not going to grow, because abundance wants to grow where it's loved, where there's passion, where there's movement, where you're allowing it to flow out and come back to you and more. It wants, everything is in relationship. So what's your relationship with money? Examine that. There's nothing wrong with frugality. Actually, I would love to have a lot of things and this and that, but essentially I feel more comfortable in having the kind of lifestyle that I've mostly led, because my husband is happy with that. He is not ready to move from that. My daughter is in her later years with us. She's in high school. So I don't want to change up everything. But I know that pretty soon, my daughter's going to be going off to college. My husband's going to be retiring, and it'll be another stage in our life where we can welcome a lot of wealth that could change our lifestyle. So I'm open to that completely. But it's, at the same time, I am very grateful for everything that I have. So in this moment, it's very important to be very grateful for what you have in this moment. You have to love what you have now. If you love what you have now, then it'll grow and you will manifest to the next one, to the next one. But you have to be happy where you're at now. That's the trick to it. So if you had to live the rest of your life the way that you are now, are you okay with that? And if you're not, start making some of those changes for yourself. You can still manifest things. This is energy, so it's even with just positive thinking and things like that, you can manifest things. But will you hold on to it? Will it be that wealth that grows and benefits others and multiplies into infinite amounts? Is it going to be that kind of wealth? That's the difference. So anyhow, you want to really examine all of that and look into that. But where I'm at now, I really open myself up to abundance, but I still recognize the beauty of frugality and the beauty of even this present moment of where I'm at. So, and I'm very grateful for that. And I've learned a lot from frugality and from what I have so far with abundance. But I know there's so much more with abundance. And so the reason that non-duality kind of like opened that up for me, that I wanted to be more abundant, was because a lot of areas in my life began to heal themselves. I really wasn't that healthy of a person, health-wise, relationship-wise, just everything was kind of out of alignment with me. And after the non-dual awakening, everything started to heal. But my finances stayed the same. So I realized I didn't have freedom in the finance area, and that's what I kind of focused more on just because of my journey. But that may not be your journey. But so I'm starting to sit more with that abundance and kind of just allow it to flow in and out. And so, I think I've shared in my last video, I want to go into some more deeper topics and things like that in this channel. And still always kind of speak of frugality and abundance, because it is kind of another part of our reality, you know. Are you in this frugality mindset, or are you in this abundance mindset? You kind of oscillate through both in life. It seems like it's two sides of the same coin again. It's another paradox. Neither is better or worse than the other, really, as long as you know your worth. So you are worthy, you are loved, you are everything in this universe, and everything is coming from you. Nothing that you've ever done has been wrong, has been right. You haven't even ever done it. So give yourself a big deep breath, a hug, and just move on from this. Life is just in this moment, okay? So live it the best that you can right now. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you are new here and you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to email me or anything else, I have my information in the description box. Thank you for watching.